That's always. I got a fish. Hello folks, and welcome to Action Angling. So today we're not fishing in the conventional style. Well, I might, but that's not what today's about anyway. It's early spring. You know, we're getting into closer to the end of March now, but we're middle of March still. And Erie tributaries at this time of year, they just get full, and I mean full, of emerald shiners. And they kind of are all the time, but at this time of year they're moving really slow. The water's still really cold. So I'm just gonna come here. I'm going to show you how I stock up on those. Underneath the emerald shiners, down closer to the bottom, there may be spot tail shiners. Ideally, I'd like to get both today. Spot tails are really, really great dead bait and cut bait, and yeah, it'd be good to have a bunch of them. But it's not necessary. Like you can use a chub or a sucker, and it works just as well. Just the spot tail shiners are really easy to cut up and use. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to show you how we catch some bait today, and maybe we'll go catch some fish too today on Action Angling. So yeah, I'm sitting there at home today. It's like freezing. It's like a super cold front right now, and I'm trying to figure out how I could possibly film a video that isn't just creek carp again, or suckers or whatever. So I was like, hey, you know what, I wonder if there's bait around. And then I thought, you know, maybe the people that don't live around Lake Erie don't catch their own bait, and I'll bet a lot of them don't. Hey geese. So I figured I'd show you my tactics for that. First off, we have our umbrella net. So this is actually a really good one, all thanks to Richard LaRock. I'm taking no credit for this net whatsoever. I had a garbage Fraybill one from Canadian Tire. They do work, but the poles on them, they bend, and the netting is not quite so great as this stuff. This is the old classic. It's a different material, I don't know. It's not plastic anyway, so I guess it's cotton or something. And yeah, he had one of these spares for me. He gave me graciously. And he also made this pole for it, which is good when the minnows are more spooky. This time of year, you don't really need it at all. First off, we're going to put together our umbrella net. So this comes with a steel frame, right? Connects at the top to your rope, which is just some paracord. And then you just hook all four corners into the frame, like so. 1, 2, 3. Oh. And 4. Okay, so the net's ready, but before that, you see I have 2 different buckets here. So the big one's actually just going to be for collecting water to throw into the small pail. I was seeing a lot of minnows. The water's so dirty, so I'm sure they're just a little bit deeper, but I was seeing them when I pulled up, so hopefully they didn't just all take off. So we got some water. Transfer. Can you see? Transfer the water. One bucket to the other. And I'll tell you, I'm not 100% interested in keeping these minnows alive very long today. Because they're just going home. I take them and I cure them, and I'll tell you about that afterwards. Go over here a little bit. Oh, I see them down there. So yeah, if it was the time of year when the minnows are a little bit more spooky, the water's warmer, what you do is toss it over the edge. The emeralds tend to be near the surface. Okay, so toss it over the edge and just kind of hide out like this. Alright, and then they don't see you coming. And the most important thing with doing the umbrella net is you gotta be really quick with it. You can't let up. So the pole helps with that too. I see minnows swimming over the net. This is gonna be really quick here. So we got a bunch. See, emerald shiners. Probably about a dozen. Wasn't as much as I thought I was going to get in that scoop, but that's a good start. And of course, check your local regulations and everything. So the limit on minnows here is 120. It doesn't matter if like all combined. So if I get, by God's luck, 60 spot tail shiners, then I can keep 60 spot tail shiners and 60 emerald shiners, and that's your possession limit as well. So that's all you can have in your freezer, fridge, however you store them. But that's plenty of minnows to get me through the spring. I don't use a ton of emerald shiners, but they are good to have. There is a better spot upstream that I have private access to, but it's very cold and windy today coming out of the opposite direction, like the opposite bank of where I would be, so I don't really want to freeze my ass off to catch minnows. Oh, this will be a good scoop this time, I think. Oh yeah, pretty good, pretty good. It's not a limited one scoop. Look at the size of them too. Those are good, solid 2.5, 3 inch shiners. Perfect. It's just what I want. I don't like the little pinheads. They're good for crappies, but these are better for my preferred targets. I think I'll do one more scoop and then I'm going to just try for the spot tails, because I don't want to go over my limit here. Yeah, it's that easy this time of year. Summertime, or even later on in the spring, it gets much more challenging. Actually, this is a challenging day. All things considered. Usually you have a limit in like one scoop this time of year. So yeah, remember that. As soon as the ice is gone, pretty much, these emerald shiners are in these Lake Erie tributaries near the mouths. And hopefully there's some spot tail shiners there too. I got a couple dozen worms while I was in town because they actually have them here. So if we go fishing afterwards, I will probably use worms, even though it's like ironic. I'm sitting here catching plenty of minnows, but the worms will probably be what does it if I go anywhere else after this. Depending on where I go, I suppose. See lots of minnows again coming over the net. Just waiting till there's like 100 over top of it, and then I might get 20 of them, you know. And again, I'm standing right here. They see me this time of year. They're not active enough to spook. They definitely see me here though. Oh yeah, that's plenty. That's plenty for today. So next we'll show you how to do the spot tails. It's more of a common trapping technique than this, I suppose, in other parts of the province. And of course, I'm not, like I said, I'm not really too worried about keeping these dudes alive, but if it were a normal day and I was fishing with them, we got an aerator. It's like a USB rechargeable aerator, really good investment actually. So the other technique that we're going to use for the spot tails is a more traditional trap. And again, this is Ontario. I don't know about your local laws. Always check. Oh. Well, I'm gonna have to fix that. I normally keep my name and my address on here because it does have to be marked. So I'm gonna go find a marker and fix that before I put this in. But anyways, and how do we bait them? We use bread that expired in November. Isn't this a grand new age we live in? My Wonder Bread that expired on November 16th, and it's now March 21st. And no mold! What a miracle! That's got to be super healthy. Very stale, but no mold. So I'm just gonna throw a couple pieces in there. Normally I like to ball it up, but it's so stale that won't be able to happen. I'll break it up a bit. Actually, I don't even know. Can I actually ball some of this up? It's so old. I just like to ball it up so they can't quite so easily just grab it through the cage. Again, spot tails are pretty stupid right now, moving slowly, and probably will just swim into the trap anyway. You link up those two parts on the bottom. You want something that clamps it fairly tight. Now, this isn't perfect, but that's better. And All you do is toss it in. I like to toss it sort of parallel to the wall, so horizontally out like that. By the way, I couldn't find a Sharpie. I thought I had one in my car, but apparently I don't, so I'm gonna risk it. I'm sitting here right with my trap. It's not like I'm leaving it here overnight, so hopefully that's all right. And they would just give me a warning. But you are supposed to have your name and address written on your trap, especially if you leave it and you aren't attending it. It hasn't been that long, but I'm gonna check the trap anyway. And if there's nothing in it, I'll go try another spot. Hope it's not too windy. Nothing in the trap. So, probably no spot tails here, but I'll just keep it rigged with the bread. I got something. I got a fish. Switch spots and immediately, almost took like 5 minutes. It ain't tiny. I know what it is. Fighting me pretty good. It's bulldogging, whatever it is. It's a catfish. Channel cat. Alright. Alright. Beauty. He ain't very big, but biggest one I caught this year. Cool. Caught a fish today. Alright. And I just used an emerald shiner because I can't really even put my trap in here unless I put it in the shallows, but spot tails are going to be deeper usually. I'm trying to be quiet because there's somebody over on the other side. Looks like he's carp fishing. I just don't want to disturb him. So sorry if you can't hear me very well. Pretty much dead middle of the river, but there's like a mud line over there. Must have been why he was there. Something just sniffed my bait a couple of times. Yeah. Feels much smaller. I like the never knowing what's on your line kind of aspect of this, but I'm pretty sure it's another channel cat. He was just swimming towards me. He's fighting now. Got some good head shakes actually. I wasn't expecting to catch fish today. This is awesome. Generally it's kind of early for this. He's fighting me now. Holy cow. Oh, nice. Just a little channel cat. Top hook this time. Hey, I'll take it. Considering I expected to just be catching bait. Ooh. There you go, like a 2-pounder, but beauty. Wow. A multi-fish day in this spot is actually pretty insane. Oh dear, we got spot tails, yes. Hell yeah. Lots of them. Well, that's awesome. So yeah, there you go. The trap works too for the spot tails, as long as they're around. I don't like to leave my bread in there with them. I'm not even gonna drop it again. That's a whole lot. I got a lot of. I don't want to go over my limit. The spot tail shiners look like emerald shiners, but here, I'll show you. In case you don't know, the bite seemed to have slowed down on my rod here. They look like emerald shiners, but they're much larger, and they just have a little spot on the tail. You can tell by the body shape once you get to know your bait. And you should know your bait if you're going to catch bait. There's a lot of prohibited species, but that one's allowed. Emerald shiners are allowed. We got plenty of bait now for the next few weeks. Okay, well, the wind has picked up. I'm in the shade. It's cold. The fish aren't biting anymore. I think it's past the old cutoff time. I don't know what that is, but high noon here, everything just shuts down. And it won't pick up again until way after I'm gone to bed. I work nights, so I gotta sleep in the afternoon. So anyways, the only other thing I wanted to cover, and I'm not gonna bother showing you this at home, because it's pretty self-explanatory, but all I do is I take the minnows, put them in, day-sized portions, maybe 15, 20 in a Ziploc bag. Pour a bunch of salt in there. There's no science to it. Just add a bunch of salt, and then I throw them in the freezer. And that's all you got to do. And that counts as cured. You can also brine them. You can do other things with them. The spot tails, I'll take probably a dozen of them, set them aside, and I will brine them because they're better for pike that way. They're not better for pike that way. They just last longer. You can refreeze them a whole lot more often when you have the brine on them. And I can color them. I don't know if that makes a difference, but I like to add some color to them when I brine them for the pike. But when you brine them, it takes away a lot of that natural scent, so it's not as good of a cut bait when it's brined. But anyways, hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Doesn't look like I'm catching another fish. If you like this sort of thing, leave a like down below. Leave a comment down below and consider subscribing to the channel. Love you, bye. I gotta do this every time now. If you know, you know. Random hook set. Nothing there.